Right, welcome to the new lecture. Right now, I want to teach you all about the NLA editor, dope sheet, and the action editor, which are also used in the animation production a lot, and they can save you a lot of time. So first, what I want you to do is go inside your course files, and then open this Blender file called the NLA editor introduction. So once you open up the NLA editor introduction Blender file, you're going to see 4 characters, and these are the animations we created in the previous lectures. If you haven't followed along, then don't worry, I'm still going to teach you how to use the NLA editor anyways, because you don't have to know the ins and outs of character animation in order to use the NLA editor. So once I play my animation, you can see I have a jump here, I have the walk cycle, I have this weird walk cycle which we created with the graph editor, and then we have the breathing animation as well. Now I want to teach you how to mix these animations together really fast. So first, what I'm going to do is I don't need to see all of these characters because it's going to slow things down. So what I can do is hover over this collections and then hide everything. So I can press on this visibility icon to select, drag and drop, and hide everything. Now I need to import a completely new character. So I'm going to go to File, Append, and let's import the BPS character rig again from the course files. You already know how to import it from the previous lectures. I'm going to go to Organize Workflow, Rigs, and then BPS rig version 4, and then let's import the BPS rig version 4 collection like this. So now let's say I want my character to have all of the animations which we had. So first I want my character to, for example, be breathing, then walk forward normally, walk in a weird way, and then jump, and that's it. So for that, I can use the example as I showed you in the previous lecture. So what I'm going to do now is first I'm going to enable the screencast keys so you can see what I'm clicking. Now I'm going to hover over the timeline here on the corner, expand this, and then click here, and then turn this into the nonlinear animation or the NLA editor. Now I'm going to create another window. So I'm going to click here, expand this, click here, and then click on Dope Sheet. Now, Dope Sheet is basically advanced timeline. So think timeline on steroids because you're going to see way more keyframes and way more options over here. And you can use the Dope Sheet in your animation production as well. But for this example, we don't have to know the ins and outs. What I like to do is click here, and instead of Dope Sheet, I'm going to go inside the Action Editor. Because when we're making animations in Blender, each animation, each action has its own name. So now if I click on this action, I have it pretty disorganized because I have BPS character rig action 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's very disorganized. So first I'm going to show you how you can quickly organize this so that you can save a lot of time later. Now you don't have to do this for my animation library because I've already organized each animation by its own name, so you don't have to spend time doing this. But I'm quickly going to show you why this is important. So first I'm going to hide my BPS character rig, and I'm going to unhide everything else. So I'm going to unhide these characters. Now, once I hide everything, I'm going to first select this animation, which is the jumping animation. But I can't tell this is jumping animation because I don't have it named properly. So if it jumps, for example, it jumps. Now, if you want to change the name, it's easy. Make sure you're inside the action editor. Make sure you have your character outline, the mesh in the object mode selected. And now click here on the character and let's name this jump so that we stay organized. So I'm going to name this jump, and that's pretty much it. Now select the second one and let's name this walk. We can also go for third one and let's name this walk 2. Or we can go to the collection, copy the name here, Control C, click here, Control V, and that's it. And let's name this breathing. So now that we are more organized, we have this jump, walk 2, and then breathing animation. We can hide them again, and then enable the BPS character rig again. So now if I enable this, if I go to Action Editor, if I click here, you can see my actions are way more organized. So now let's say I want my character to jump. I can click this without having to animate the jump over and over again. I can select jump, and there we go. I just imported the jumping animation pretty easily. But in order to mix different animations, we can use the powerful NLA editor. So again, let's ignore this for now. Select the character. And then when you go inside the NLA editor, I always recommend whenever you're working with a timeline, graph editor, dope sheet, or the NLA editor, always enable this. Always enable show only selected. So enable show only selected here, and then enable this here as well, so that we only see what we have selected. So now our character doesn't have any animations. So let's say first I want my character to start breathing. So select this, and then select the breathing animation, and now the character will be breathing. Now if you notice, inside the NLA editor, I have this new strip created, which is like barely visible, but it shows me 3 keyframes, which is actually accurate. So if I, for example, select the torso, it has 3 keyframes over here, and we have 3 tiny keyframes showed over here as well. And then we have them show over here as well in the timeline. Now, before we continue, I like to use this workflow a lot, where I have my timeline open here, NLA editor open in the middle, and the action editor open on top. But if I try to move it, if I try to move any of them, you can see the rest of them do not follow in terms of the timeline range. So what you can do is hover over the timeline, press on view, and then click on sync visible range. So once I enable sync visible range here, and then I do the same thing here, go to NLA editor, click on view, enable sync visible range, and then go to the action editor as well, view, sync visible range. Now if I try to move any of them, if I move the timeline, you can see the rest of them are going to follow. So I recommend you to enable that setting before you start working with different animation panels, like the timeline, NLA, or the action editor. Now, if I press on N, you can see I have properties here. I have properties in the action editor as well, but I don't have to use any properties for the action editor, so I can just close this. Now, if I want to use the NLA editor properly, I need to turn the animations into a strip. So in order to turn the animation into a strip, that's pretty easy to do. I can either go here, click on action, and then click on push down action, and then it's going to turn it into an NLA strip. Or I can simply go to the NLA editor and click on this button, which is called push down action. And now it's going to turn this into an NLA strip. Now, you can see the keyframes disappeared because once you turn the animation into an NLA strip, the keyframes basically disappear and you can no longer edit it as you would previously. But let's say I don't like the breathing animation, anything inside the breathing animation. Let's say I want to go in the middle and then move the body up even more. What I can do is if I want to edit it further, I can press on tab. And now if I press on tab, you can see I'm going to be able to see the keyframes again. So once you press on tab, you can go to the middle and then add any changes you want. So I'm going to enable auto keyframing here. Make sure I have location rotation set over here. And then maybe I can take this, RX, move it back, GZ, move it up even more. And now the NLA strip will be edited, the keyframes will be edited. Now I'm going to go back and then press on tab because we don't need to edit it further. So right now we have this breathing animation. Now let's say I want to speed it up or slow it down or repeat it over and over again. I can quickly do it with the NLA editor with a few clicks. For now, what we need to do is press on N and then make sure we have the sidebar enabled. I'm going to expand this so that I can demonstrate this better. So I have different menus over here. If you scroll down, we have the active strip with a bunch of options. And we have action clip. If I expand this, it also has a bunch of options. And then we have the action, which I don't really use that often. Now, first setting you might notice is the extrapolation and blending. Now, I'm going to show you what these do after I import the second animation because it's not relevant right now. What I simply want to show you is how to repeat this animation over and over again. So if you scroll down, you need to enable action clip. And then under action clip, we have playback scale and repeat. If I expand the playback scale, it's going to make the animation slower. So if I type 2, it's going to make the animation twice as slow. Or I can do the opposite. I can actually go here and then type 0.5 or 0.5. And now it's going to speed up the animation and double the speed pretty much. Now I'm going to go back to 1. And then if I want to repeat my animation, I can either take this and repeat it twice, for example. Now it's going to repeat the animation twice. Or I can simply click this and drag this as much as I want. I can drag it on the right, drag it on the left. But if I drag it, for example, like 4 times, it's going to repeat the animation 4 times like this. So again, if I want my character to breathe 4 times fast, I can do 4 here. And then I can do 0.5 over here. Now the character will breathe a lot faster. So I can see with a few clicks, we have a lot of control inside the NLA editor.